This'll make it easier to carry. The boy. It must be. But I need to be sure. Perhaps the names are on the back. Lady Margaret. She looks happy. I can't imagine her smiling like that these days. My family. Yet they're all still strangers to me. Grandfather Edward. Just as he looked last night. The boy. How did he provoke Edward into throwing him down the stairs? What's this? Looks like it's drawn in blood? What I told Miss Cranon. These visions are like nothing I've ever experienced before, and they're getting worse. A sign of modernity, even in ancient houses like this. A sign of...
David, apologies for not being here to greet you. As the telephone in the castle is not working due to the recent storm, I have had to journey to the village to communicate with my office. Upon my return, I shall show you to the chapel where you can pay your respects to your father. Yours, Andrew Harrison.
Or maybe I'll just head to the chapel myself, just as soon as the weather clears. It's labeled Mallory. Perhaps another client of Mr. Harrison. It's labeled Mallory. Perhaps another client of Mr. Harrison. This Dr. Farber might be useful. Perhaps she could shed some light on Father's final weeks. I should contact her. the old man I saw was really my grandfather Edward, then the boy must be... I need to find out if that really was him I saw. I better leave Cousin Eddie to his hobby for now. I better leave... Lady Margaret?
Yes, David?
I saw an old photograph of a boy in the other room. Something tells me she wouldn't be happy if she knew I had it in my pocket.
Ah, that was taken in 1894. Young Johnny, your father.
You can remember the exact year?
It's a funny thing when you reach my age. You can remember dates from decades ago.
But not what you had for breakfast.
Maybe others can't.
Who, may I ask, were the others in the picture?
That would be your Aunt Clara and your late great-grandmother, the last true Countess of Scahandew House. And my dear Edward, of course.
I noticed my father had a scar on his face. How did that happen?
Falling from a tree, perhaps? I can't recall. But your father was a clumsy child.
Can't recall. But you remember the date the photograph was taken? I shall take my leave, Lady Margaret.
Yes.
Finally, some fresh air. Must be hard to look after the plants when you can barely see them.
Master David.
You could tell it was me.
Your footsteps. I ken the walk of everyone here.
Wow, that's rather incredible.
Aye, that it is, laddie. That it is. I hear better than most. See more than most and all. If you dinna mind, this door'll no mend itself.
I'll leave you to it then. When you talked about what they did to my father, what did you mean?
He shouldn't have come back. You canna go through what he did as a bairn and no be sick.
So his hospitalization was justified then?
Not for me to say. Before you think of putting down roots here, you should think on what the poison... Grun here did to your father. You ken?
No, not really.